Welcome to Samiksha IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about an important treaty, that is the High Seas Treaty. This is also a treaty that is BBNJ, that is Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction. As the name itself suggests, it intends to conserve the biodiversity that to beyond our national jurisdiction. See, everyone has a national jurisdiction, that is their own political boundaries, and we also have the access to sea resources, right? The exclusive economic zones. Beyond it, it is international waters. Now, this treaty is trying to conserve the international waters within which we are trying to conserve the biodiversity that exists in these seas. Thus, this treaty is significant, especially given the rate of the climate change disasters that we are witnessing, the pollution levels in the oceans, and also the need to control illegal fishing, that is excessive fishing in the high seas. Because the international waters are accessible to almost all countries, we have to have an agreement, a common agreement, to see that we could conserve these waters and also the biodiversity that is living in these waters. Now, this treaty is going to come into force in the January of the next year, that is 2026. More than 60 countries have already signed or ratified this agreement. What are the important mechanisms that are existing in this treaty which are important for us to understand? Firstly, we have a provision, that is the marine genetic resources, that is having an access to these marine genetic resources. Having an access to the marine genetic resources is important because these resources are to be exploited by every country in an equitable manner. Thus, we have a provision of fair and equitable sharing of the benefits that we are going to get out of accessing these resources. The second important aspect is area-based management tools, under which we could declare any part of the marine region, that is, which is beyond national jurisdiction, as marine protected areas. And these areas could be conserved. Like the way we have national parks, we are going to declare marine protected areas in the high seas beyond our national jurisdiction. And what we are going to do is we also have the principles of environmental impact assessment to conserve these arenas, especially from the human related activities which could impact the conservation of marine protected areas. Just like the way we have environmental impact assessment within our country, where certain projects could actually lead to destroying the sanctuary, like wildlife sanctuary or the national parks within our country. We have to conduct environmental impact assessment to protect our marine protected areas. Thus, these principles enable us to conserve the marine genetic resources, marine areas, etc. and etc. Now, when is this principles conceived? Firstly, in 2004 itself, United General Assembly has convened an ad hoc meeting so that we could fill the gaps within the United Nations Convention Law of Seas 1982 to take measures to protect these marine resources. Thus, we have started our work in the year 2004 itself, and it has took almost 21 years for it to materialize. Now, what are the issues with the treaty or the deficiencies within the treaty which has to be resolved for us so that we could effectively enforce global marine governance? The first issue is with respect to the common heritage principle. So, the marine treaty, that is the High Seas Treaty, has within it the principle that whatever the heritage that exists, that is the marine heritage that exists, is to be shared. But in reality, the access to these marine genetic resources is quite limited. It is only partial. The other important issue is with regards to the access and equitable sharing of the benefits. See, the developing countries have also had raised their fears that the developed countries might not share the benefits out of the access of the marine genetic resources in the marine regions. Though this treaty has tried to alleviate their fears by promising that monetary as well as scientific benefits are to be shared with the developing countries. The actual problem is with regards to the extent of compensation that the developed countries are going to give or the developed countries are going to share. Now, you might argue that why is there a need for the developed countries to share? It is because they are advanced, they are developed in a better manner. That is, their per capita income is greater, they have greater access to resources, so that they could use these resources to exploit these marine genetic resources. Thus, the developing countries are deprived of this technology as well as capital to actually access those resources. Thus, they might lose out on the benefits that they are going to get out of these marine genetic resources. Then one more important issue is many of the bigger countries have still not ratified this agreement. The bigger countries like the United States, China, Russia are yet to ratify this agreement, thus compromising the deal in its initiation stage itself. The other important issue is this treaty is not taking into consideration other treaties like the International Seabed Authority, etc. and etc. We have to ensure that this treaty is aligning with other global marine governing treaties so that the global marine governance could not be in a fragmented manner. It has to be aligned so that we could conduct, we could enforce global governance in a positive manner, in an aligned manner. Thus, we have to overcome these deficiencies for the effective implementation of the treaty, that is the High Seas Treaty, in order to ensure that global marine governance could be implemented in an effective manner. This completes the session on understanding the High Seas Treaty. Thank you. Let us